Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. You can find me, my books, and blogs on Dismantling Family Court Corruption.com. Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, came out in 2020, followed by Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth, as well as Raised by These Wolves, How Family and Federal Courts Are Failing Our Children in 2023. In July 19th of 2024, Raised by These Wolves, Volume 2, Child Trafficking Through the Foster Care and Court Systems came out as a bestseller the first day. And feel free to buy me a coffee to help keep this podcast going. I have three guests on. I have Hugh House Jr. on, I have Gloria House, and I have Marcus House on. And what's been going on in Cabarrus County, North Carolina, is Judge Knust will not listen to the children nor the father, who is the sole provider. Now, Judge Knust locked up the father for 30 days, and the grandmother was locked up as well. She has been locked up twice. She asked the judge a question, and he says, give me a reason why I shouldn't lock you up. And he took her away. And the second time he took her away, I believe, was on her birthday. And the reason why Marcus ended up in this position was he was held in contempt because the kids are refusing to go with their mother. And Judge Knust is, again, not looking at evidence. And I welcome you, Hugh and Gloria and Marcus, to the podcast from Cabarrus County. How are you all? And how did this all begin? Because you've been in this now for 2 years?
Yes, almost three. Yes, but actually 2.5 right now. And like I said, it's a process that's inedible, because it's like we're going on over something because the kid's voice won't be heard. I mean, and it all started like in my son's sophomore year, which was 2 years ago. He's a senior now, and it's like because of Miss Heath's actions that they don't want to go with her and they want to go with daddy, that I'm coming out as the bad guy, and I'm doing everything that I can, far as even with the system, what Judge Knust is saying to do, I'm doing it, but I guess I'm just not doing it his way. Like, like forcing my kids, which he tell me I can't do. So all I can do is get them to the spot where I'm supposed to take them and go. And if they refuse to go, what can I do?
Right. Judge Knust is also not listening to the counselor. Tell me about that.
Well, like I said, we had to send them to a counselor, and they wrote letters and things so they could see, because like as you said, he doesn't want to speak to the kids, which I don't understand if this is about the kids. It's always about the kids. But the way he's making it, he don't care. He said he don't care about the counselors. He don't care about his police officers that witnessed a lot of things that happened when we went to take the kids for the exchange meeting that we're supposed to have. It's just like he doesn't listen, and it's just like it's his way or no way.
And you're going to be going before him again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm just waiting on the paperwork. I'll have to call back up there Monday to see if I got another date or not, because at the time he sentenced me to jail, they never gave me any more paperwork.
And just to be clear, you've got two kids. One is 13 and the other one is 17.
Yes, ma'am.
They're old enough to talk to the judge.
Yes.
They're old enough, but he doesn't want to be bothered talking to them. Do you think this could be a racial thing?
I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I think it's a personal thing with me. Like I said, I've never known him, but it's like it seems like he's attacking me, and I wouldn't. I guess, I mean, it could be, but see, I hate to say that, because like I said, the way I was raised, I wasn't raised like that to be racist. I always try to look past it. Like for instance, my ex-wife she was white. So I mean, it's Caucasian. So it's not it wasn't to me until I'm like really seeing what's going on in this court system, because like I said, I'm doing everything that I possibly could, and it's still it's not right for him, you know, and I don't get it why.
But the one thing I noticed, you know, when he was talking to Mr. House, he said to him, you, because my son, he also coaches in AAU basketball, and he made a statement to him. He said, "You're a coach, right?" Mr. House answered, "Yes." He basically tell him, if you those kids on the basketball court can listen to you, why don't you coach your kids to get in the car? And I was just livid when he said that to him. I was like, did he really say that? And he said, coach those kids to get in the car. And then the lawyer herself, he even was saying that Mr. House needs to make the kids go too. And it was like the lawyer and the judge were talking together. Like they would shut his attorney out. Anything she said was shut out. So to me, it would look like Mr. House was just done from the beginning, because he was we weren't allowed to say anything, do anything, and then he made it impossible. I mean, actually, he was taking away his time with his kids, because we live in Salisbury, North Carolina. She's located in Concord, and he made it so that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and bring them back on Sunday, where they go to school here, made it that she can come get the kids after school and everything, but they're in sports. You know, it didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. So that actually she couldn't pay support. That was one of the main reasons why that happened. So now the judge wrote this order where he says to him, took us out the equation, because they were complaining that, oh, we're encouraging them, and that's not so. So this last order he put in, he had the mother go to the school to pick them up. They still refused to go with the mother. So he locked him up for that.
Now, I know you had sent me some videos of the behaviors.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I can't show here because they're minors, but why
Correct.
is Judge Knust not even looking at this?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Well, he won't. He doesn't want to. He basically said, "This is what I want, and this is what I want to happen." Don't care about their feelings. Doesn't care about the circumstances. And I want to understand, she's not a bad mother. It's her actions since the boys decided to go with the mother. Now, that's the thing.
Because she had moved out before, like I said, when we separated, she just took everything and took the boys away from it. And I didn't do no fight, because at the time, I'm a father, and I know the kids need their mother. Mm-hmm. But after a while, I guess they got old enough and seeing what was going on. They chose to come back home to daddy. Like I said, always was there, even when they went with her. Still paid. She took me for child support, and was still getting like $700 something from me a month from child support. And even then, they would still call me and ask for something to eat. So it's like it was just, I don't know. It's a lot of things that if it's not her way, it's no way. And being as though with Judge Knust, he just said the kid, no, why would I listen to the kids if they're not going to do nothing but bash the mother? Right. That's why says that's his reason for not listening to the kids.
Right.
If he would, I'm sorry, if he would just look at those videos, this wouldn't be an issue. We wouldn't even be having this podcast right now.
Right. That's right. It's almost like this path has been predetermined before the cases go before trial. I mean, it's like everything has been there are back channel conversations about what one person wants. I'm not naming names, but this has already been predetermined. This is what I want to happen, regardless of the facts, the truth, the true circumstances. And one thing I was talking to Gigi about yesterday is, I like to understand the root cause of a problem. Why did the boys leave in the very beginning? Okay, what caused that? And it's important that foundationally you understand what happened and why they chose to make that drastic move. That wasn't done, haphazardly, and it wasn't done based on, I'm sure, one incident. So why wouldn't you be interested in understanding what happened? Those types of things, I'm the uncle, it's my sister's son, and I care about what's going on, and I'm very objective, and I look at things for what they are. At the end of the day, it is what it is. But as a judge, who's basically supposed to be working for the people and doing the things that are in the best interest of the children, why wouldn't you want to have all the facts at your disposal before you make a decision? And I told Gigi this yesterday, love Mark to death, we'll do anything for him. But if he wasn't right for the kids, then my objective position would be that they should be placed in an environment that's best for the kids. But that's not what's being leveled here. It's just not happening. And that speaks to a bigger problem, Marianne, which it could be systemic. It could be, and I listened to the question about it being racial. There may be some subtle things going on. Again, we're not privy to everything. We can't be naive to think that that's not part of it, but we don't have any facts to prove that that's the case. All we're interested in is a fair evaluation of this circumstance and the best outcome for the kids. And from what I understand, the kids are thriving with Mark in his environment. He's being taken care of. Gigi's been a good grandmother. Mark's been a good father. All those are facts, right? And the other, I just call it craziness that occurs on the other side, and the environment that they're in, it's not best for the kids. So just being objective and not being privy to the whole 2-year cycle, looking at what you can see here, in this short time frame that I've been involved, there's something wrong. And it would be wrong in any family circumstance that exhibited all these types of facts.
Mm-hmm.
And does that make sense? I mean, it's just
right. I mean, Marcus, at what time did you ever get full custody that boys were then staying with you?
No, I never got full custody. They've never did, but they've been with me this whole time still. Only been with her one time since in this 2 years. Since this thing's been going on for 2 years, that they only been with her one time.
And yet you're still paying child support to her?
No, now I'm not paying child support, but they sent her to pay child support, but her child support being sent to me was only $11.15 for 2 kids a month.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. These judges are gouging parents for child support. I've never heard of such a low amount of child support.
Right.
And that's because he gave her Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So what they do is they count. Child support counts that the overnight stays.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the overnight stays, and that's why he did it. So she wouldn't have to pay him support, So that's what he did.
Yeah, that's why it's biased in it. That's what he did.
Yeah. And when did you having to pay child support, when did that stop?
That stopped in last year, about exactly June. I believe it was June of last year. And then that's when I went to go file to get it. And that's when they sent me the papers to do. And they said $11.15. Well, it was $15, but after the tax and stuff, I get $11.15.
Wow. So she didn't go to court and say, I want these kids full custody at all? She didn't do any of that.
She tried. That's what she tried after this kid refused to go with her, because she's basically making it like I'm keeping, or me and my mother is keeping the kids from her, which is truly far from the case. And I even said that to Judge Knust. I would be the first to take the kids if they wanted to go. They have cell phones and everything to themselves. Instead of her, she steady tries to put the problems on me, calls me. When, like I said, the judge really already said, I had nothing to do with it. You need to, so she can reach out to our kids. They have cell phones. If they want to talk to you, you can call them. If they don't want to talk to you, what can I do? I mean, I can encourage them for it. I told them, that's your mother. You only have one. But it's still to this point that even though me out the equation, I'm still getting pulled in, that I'm the one being bad. And here she will talk to them and they tell her how they feel, and it's still not good enough. It's like, okay, she'll call them, and then I guess once the conversation doesn't go right, she wants to text me. Oh, well, you're not letting me talk to the kid. You're keeping the kids away from me, and this was going on while I was at work. She done showed up at my job before, it's like, it's getting out of hand. Yeah, calling family members, even in New Jersey, calling my aunts, my uncles. She's calling different people and just to try to and then threatening like, okay, well, if y'all don't talk to him to make him do it, he's gonna go back to jail. See, they keep using that jail card. That's all, because that's all they think is going to happen. But in the end, that ain't doing nothing but hurt my boys, and keeping me and almost forcing me to go away from my job. But I have a job that's understanding, that's keeping me here. Because they know this is what I do. I'm here for my kids. I will do what's best for my kids. And it's like I said, it hurts to get to a point where it's like, I can't, like I said, my family is helping me, but as a man, I like to be there and do stuff for my kids, and it's hurting. And it like upsets me when I start talking about it.
I'm sorry.
Because I know how good I am.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you able to coach, or did that coaching didn't start yet because of school?
We do that sometimes when the school is like almost over, it's like towards the end of the year we do it. But
Okay.
like this year, my head wasn't really into it because I was going through this with her. It was like I couldn't be there. So it just hurts because I know what I do.
Oh, well, I know when I had to drop my kids off to their father, the oldest one, I think he was 16, 17. He didn't want to go. And I called the state police because I said, what do I do? He won't get in the car. And I ended up with this nasty trooper that said, well, how much does he weigh? I said, he outweighs me. He's 167 pounds. I only weigh 130. Well, he says, then just go pick him up and put him in the car. And I just kind of said, okay, bye. I'm like,
Wow.
this is, and then when a parent is sent to jail, what these judges don't know is the ACEs score. I don't know if you know about the ACEs score, Adverse Childhood Experience Score. If you Google that, you can pull up the test. I think it's like 14 or 15 questions. One of the questions is, have you ever had a parent that was incarcerated? Well, I was. And my kids told me they have high ACEs scores. And what that means is later in life, a person can get autoimmune diseases, cancer. It can put them into an early grave. And these judges don't care about the adverse childhood experiences scores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never did that. I might have to pull that up. So they can do it or something. Cause like I said, one thing, like I said, I'm just glad that you did mention with far as my kids striving, because like I said, when they were with her, my oldest, he stayed with good grade. He's just natural,
natural. He's an honor society.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the oldest
Scholar athlete.
Scholar athlete, yes. Yes. Marla, he's great. His grades were down at one point. I ain't going, because it's going through the transition, what was going on. And even with her not being there, stuff wasn't getting done. This past year is the first time he's ever made the honor roll since he's been with me, since he's been even in school, So it's like that's something that he's not looking into. The judge ain't looking at that. He's not looking at none of that these kids are striving now.
I've heard other stories of Judge Knust, and it's like the same story, but different parents. And they don't look at evidence. He just won't look at evidence.
No.
But how is that acceptable over and over again? Why are there no checks on his performance and his obligation to do what's really right for the families and to be objective and to hear all the information? Why is that? Is the system that broken that it can't put that in check?
Well, technically the system is not broken because they have it working like a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
Judges know exactly what they're doing, and breaking up the families, having people pay astronomical amounts of child support, which feeds into their system of Title 4D, which makes billions of dollars per state. Okay. I don't know where all this money goes, but it also goes back into the judge's pockets. So it's not a broken system. There is also the problem of qualified immunity. And judges I think it goes to their head.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed with Cabarrus County, Concord, it just seems like everybody's playing in the same sandbox. Have you had any other judges besides Knust?
They changed it.
No, they changed it when
We
I
did.
I did
Yeah.
it one time. I had a judge, and then he said, "No, you're on Judge Knust's thing." He sent me back to Judge Knust.
Who was that judge? I'm sorry.
I don't know exact name. I would have to look back. I would have to go back and find, but it was because he sent me to Superior Court.
He
Well,
wanted
he
them
wanted,
to,
they wanted me
he-
to go up to Superior
yeah,
Court.
he wanted to put this in Superior Court, literally.
Yeah, take it from the civil to the child case to the Superior to try to get it out of there. But that judge sent it back down and said that no, I will let Judge Knust handle this because of what it was there for. I don't know whether he read the case and seen what was going on, but he said, no, we'll let Judge Knust handle this. You know, so it's yeah.
He sent it right back to him.
Right back. And that's why I'm in the situation where I am now.
Mhm.
And it's like the attorney that she has, he literally just listens to her. It's like to me, I just feel like they have a connection that, you know, when he had a Mecklenburg attorney and she's a Cabarrus attorney, he's not going to let this Mecklenburg attorney beat his Cabarrus lawyer. He don't care what the evidence you have.
Not in
So
house.
her attorney's from Mecklenburg.
No,
her attorney.
his attorney, when this first started, Mr. House attorney was from Mecklenburg, and her attorney is from Cabarrus.
What is her name?
The attorneys.
Her name.
Leanne Lancaster.
Okay, and who's your attorney's name?
I don't have one now.
You don't have one
anymore, but it was Shantae Cruz.
Shantae Cruz.
And then he referred me to and then I got they gave me a court appointed lawyer who was Benjamin Goff, who was supposed to represent me this last time, but they say they released him.
So he went in there with nobody.
I went in there this last time by myself. I had to go by myself. After they had already threw me, I was locked up. I was already locked up for 22 days already, and then they brought me back to court on 8/13. And I had to represent myself at the time. And at that time, that's when the judge said, well, Mr. House, we could have let you out today, but the kids still haven't gone with their mother. So we're going to let you, how many more days you got left? And I said, well, I got about 9 more days left. He's like, well, you'll serve the rest of your time there.
And then he said, when he was doing that, then he said, well, why you talking to your mother from there? Have her, make sure she gives those kids to her.
Right.
You know, I'm like,
right. Well, yeah, ask me, have I talked to your mother? Well, I mean, what are the kids living on the street? No, they're not living on the street. Have they ever lived on the street? Not when they're always well taken care of with me and my mother.
Yeah.
You know? But no, it's just like you said. So he just told me well, you just served the rest of your time, and then that was it. So I mean, that's what happened. I just had to wait. I ain't received any. I was trying to get emails. I was trying to get transcripts of everything of the court, like of all the sessions while I was in there, because they had a kiosk machine that you can reach out to try to get your stuff. And they would not respond back to me. They would not get. They kept sending me, okay, well, this is a civil issue. Well, this is a district issue. Well, and they kept sending me back. So then I asked for copies of like emails of visitation, this and stuff. They wouldn't give me anything while I was in there. So it was like everything I was trying to do, like something was going against me. Like anybody else would get it. You would see paperwork coming in for somebody. I couldn't get nothing.
And you didn't need any medical care when you were in there?
Yeah, I mean, at one time I did. Like I said, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. You know, I've been fighting Crohn's disease for a while. I mean, I basically fought it. It's been going better. Sometimes, like I said, when I stress a lot, it comes back.
Oh yes.
And it was an instance where, like I said, I had a roommate, and I don't know whether it was something I ate or drunk in there, but when I did it, instantly my body got hot and I got lightheaded and things. And I'm hitting it. Got a little button in there you can hit for emergency, and I'm hitting the button. And the guy asked me what's wrong. I'm telling him my body's not feeling right. You know, well, he said, well, they'll be doing a round soon. We'll get to you. Here, I'm on the second floor right now. You know, so I basically, like I told him, I just stood there and I just leaned up against the wall and just sat down and just waited, you know, and maybe after 15, 20 minutes later or whatever, they finally opened the cell door and let me yell out and asked me, well, Mr. House, come out the cell. I'm on the ground, you know, I'm trying. So I had to force myself up and almost fall down the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I'm
to
so
try to
sorry.
get medical, just to get medical help. That's all they wanted to give me with aspirin.
Oh, oh man, I'm so sorry. You know, they committed a human rights violation.
That's correct.
These
Correct.
even with
Yeah.
myself as well. You know, I had been on prescribed medication, but they're not going to give it to you.
Same thing with me when I was in there. I was on medicine. They said, well, you just have to wait because it takes some time before you can get it.
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
Exactly. That's what she said. But like you said, you know, with Mr. House experience in there and myself, I wasn't even really in there really for a good 24 hours. Because when he locked him up with that second time, when he locked me up, like I say, you can tell that it was basically a setup because they locked him up and they locked both of us up at the same time. And when I got back there, you know, Mr. House, he never even got.
Yeah, because he messed up because he wound up giving me a bond.
He gave him a bond.
Messed up and gave me a bond the second time.
Right.
And I got to get out, but he didn't give my mother a bond.
He didn't give me a bond.
Oh.
And then once he found out that Mr. House wasn't in there, the very next day he called me into the court, you know, had to do the video. And he said, Miss House, you understand what happened? I said, yes, sir. And I still not going to change what I said. I just asked you a question and I realized that I was getting locked up. And he said, well, anyway, time served and you can go. And that was it. Because my son wasn't in there and he realized that he had the children. So what's the sense of keeping the mother in there now? So he let me out immediately.
And that night before she got out, like I said, the mother they must have found out that I got out. So they're steady trying to call the kids, you know, and we were out eating. Like I said, they were out eating with me. They were happy to see me, you know what I'm saying? They knew I went to court that day and we were out eating and the police, she had the police call me. They came all the way out to Texas Roadhouse to where we was at eating to make sure that the kids were all right. Like something was wrong with them, you know? Since she says, so yeah, they sent the kids, so they pulled up. They pulled in and seen, you know, and they was like, oh, okay, they're okay, and then pulled off. So it was like a scare tag. I don't know what,
like a well check.
But yes, like something was wrong with them or something. Because I guess, like I said, that they weren't talking to the mother because, like I said, they were upset and they're still upset because their voice isn't being heard. It's like you said, if they just let them talk instead of thinking it's about to be a bad thing. No, it's about the truth. But no, I guess, like I said, Judge Cabarrus and Mr. Lancaster don't want the truth. That's why they're trying everything they can to put it on me, saying Mr. House or the grandmother is not there keeping the kids or brainwashing the kids. No.
And the other thing is that the mother took out a charge on him for breaking and entering.
Right.
Okay. And the police came to the house here, threw my son down on the sofa. My grandkids were watching this. And they took him away. To make a long story short, we went to court and everything. I seen a little child in the court and I said, well, can the children testify? And the woman told me, yes. Yeah, the advocate lady said, yeah. So I ran real fast to the school, signed my grandson out, brought him back to court. And they questioned him to make sure that he understood the questions and everything. And they put my grandson on the stand to tell the truth. And the judge was so proud of him, the way he spoke and everything, that they found Mr. House not guilty.
And this was in Rowan County.
In Rowan County.
We stay in Rowan County. We stay in Rowan County.
Right.
The case that's going on now is in Cabarrus, which we've never stayed in Cabarrus our life.
Never.
The kids have never went to a school.
She moved there.
She moved there on purpose with her other quote unquote significant
her other friend.
Her other friend.
Yeah,
her friend.
Right.
You know, so that and then tried to file for child support. Child custody there.
At his house.
But they've been here in Rowan County all their life. We've been in Rowan County all our life while they have.
And judge doesn't want to hear any of this.
So he doesn't want the truth. That it's the truth. That's what's the problem.
So if he can go in Rowan County, my question is, if he can get on the stand in Rowan County, why can't he get on it in Cabarrus County and speak?
And with this judge, I'm just thinking, isn't he out of his jurisdiction? I mean, I know she moved there, but you've been in Rowan County.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Why would he even bother taking this case? He should have sent it back to Rowan County. That's my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
True. I was thinking that too. She's
But
this.
the one thing I'll say, and this is kind of always the case in a lot of circumstances, is that there are I call them back channel conversations that are being had that help steer some of these outcomes.
Mhm.
That's the only answer because nothing else makes sense, but we don't have proof of that, so I'm just speculating. But I would assume that that's the case because the things that he's doing, they just don't seem logical or objective. They seem to be driven by someone's desire to achieve an outcome, whether they're pleading their case or the puppy dog eyes or whatever they do to influence the judge to want to take control and to manage that case so that she gets the outcome she wants. I would not say that that's too far from the truth because it's just and again I'm hearing that this is not a one-off. This is happening to other people.
Right.
So to me, that's I'm listening to all this and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what's the end game? How do we you can't fight the system within the system because the system is going to protect itself. So the only thing that's going to make a difference is to properly expose the truth about the circumstances that are occurring to make them be held accountable by the public. I mean, I don't know if that's the right way to go, but someone other than the people in Cabarrus County need to be aware of what's happening. This is not normal. It's not justice. It's not,
No.
and it should not be allowed to go unchecked the way it's going. I mean, Mark's suffering, other families have suffered. And we as a society can do better, frankly. We can do better for our families, So
Now, have you ever, I know I've gone on LinkedIn to look up judges and who is their friends. This is Leanne Lancaster. Did Knut and Lancaster work in the DA's department at some point in their careers before he became a judge, for instance? I mean, these are things that when a case is going like this, even my case, for instance, the judge and the opposing attorney were BFFs in the DA's department.
right.
So, I mean, I don't know if you can research her background.
Yes.
Maybe, maybe not, but they're keeping this case going, to finance Leanne Lancaster?
That's what it sounds like. But I had a thought there. What she's with? I'm trying to think. When you were saying something, it triggered something. Now you can keep talking, but it'll come back. But it was he did.
Yeah, they all play in the same sandbox.
Yeah, they do that.
That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, yeah, that happens to me too, and I'll think about it at 2 a.m.
It's gonna come. It's gonna come because what you said, it triggered something. But when you were talking, it's important. It's gonna come in a minute.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, my main thing is I just don't understand why the kid's voice can't be heard. Because instead of, like I said, putting it on me, like I said, you're jeopardizing my job to keep locking me up. And when it's all said, at the end of the day, you're saying you want the best interest for the kids. Well, the best interest of the kids is to be heard. And it's not being heard at all. And I don't understand why. You got a 17-year-old at any time at the age of 16, they can emancipate themselves from both parents.
Right,
don't
right.
Fun. So how you gonna say that he can't speak?
How old can they be to emancipate? Is it 15? Is that your state?
16. Yeah, 15 and 16.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the judge that interviewed my two boys, of course, they go in there with the attorneys and the lady that does the transcriptioning. And when he was talking to the kids, I don't know what went on in there, but my attorney ran out and she said, he's twisting your son's words.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like what? So it was, it took a while But again, like they reduced me to a non-custodial parent, even though we had co-parented for almost 10 years. But that's another story. But you can't even trust these judges even to listen to the kid, even if they
Right.
did.
Right. And that's what I'm scared of.
He could go in there. It's just like right now, only because the way this case is going, even if he did listen to him, he'll come back out and still say they're the same. And that right there would just, to me, when the kids are saying what they want to say, that would devastate them even more.
Can the kids do a deposition? Is that even a thing where that they could actually be recorded on the record?
I think they would be like my kids were recorded on the record when they took them in there and sequestered them and talked to them. Everything was on the record. I read the transcripts.
Okay.
That's what should be going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what North Carolina does.
And I was just thinking someone that other than the judge, I guess, someone who can be objective and just not twist words and not try to steer the conversation. Just ask relevant questions, right? And then get the responses, and that video becomes a record of the circumstance, and it can be used however. It's the truth.
Right. And that's just like when the children were my youngest was having the stress issues, and then we set up them to go to counseling, which they were going to counseling for how many months?
It went for about 6 months.
Went to counseling for 6 months, and then this is their own personal counselor to deal with what they're dealing with, so they can talk to somebody else. And the purpose was that if something came up for court, that they would be able to subpoena the counselors or whatever they do. And at that point, the mother even came to their own personal counseling sessions and tried to force the kids to go with it. Told them in there, if you don't go with me, and one of the counselors said it to the oldest
That's
one.
why I stopped going.
That's why you stopped going. That your dad's going to jail.
Yeah, blamed it on him for me getting locked up. Blamed it on my oldest, saying that your dad keeps getting locked up because you won't go with your mom. Because you won't go with your mom.
Well, right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, she said that's why you'll keep getting locked up, because you won't go with your mom. So then my son came out after the meet. I'm outside waiting on him because I picked him up just before he could drive. Picked him up from the counselor outside because I don't go inside. It's their personal time to talk to the counselor.
Right.
So it was for them. So then, like I said, when she came and when I seen her, we sitting in a waiting room, and then I see her coming. I'm like, what is she doing here? So then, like I said, the guy comes out, the counselor comes out and calls Kari, and then calls her to go in. I'm like, what's going on? Because at the end of the day, I'm paying this out my insurance. She's not paying for this. My insurance is paying for this. They made me pay for it, which I didn't have no problem because they're my kids. So it was for them to get better, not for them to get worse. And it made it worse. And he stopped going. They were going to the counseling case.
The youngest one kept going.
The youngest kept going. But the oldest, he said, I'm not going no more, Dad, because it's like they're just forcing it on me. And like I said, Kari is everybody loves my oldest. It's just he's a people's person. He's National Honor Society, So it's like that it just made him mad. It's like, come on. And he doesn't need that.
And plus, when you have your parent tells you, you know what, you better get it together, because guess what? I'll put you in a detention center.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yep, told him she.
And there's no reason for that, So, but it does not. The sad thing about this whole thing is that one thing we would love for the children to be with their mother, because that's where they should be, to talk, spend some time with her. But what she's done and how she's treated, she thinks that it's okay. She thinks it's okay to say, do, because it's what I say and what I do. And the funny thing about it, the attorney, Leanne Lancaster, and Judge Knust, they're all acting the same way. Just like her attorney said, her oldest doesn't deserve to get the driver's license. He don't need to have those type of privileges if he can't do what his mother says. She said that in the court. And Judge let that happen. And then one time I had my hand up because I wanted to say something. Leanne Lancaster turned around and said, "Put your hand down." The judge didn't even say nothing to her. Never didn't say anything to her. She turned
that right there.
And he didn't do anything. She said, "Put your hand down." I said, okay.
And that's how it is, far as with the case, far as like I said, he was letting her basically predict like how much time they were going to get and the places to meet at far as on there, telling her to draw up, you know what I'm saying, draw up what
actually, the day of court, the day of court, she didn't do another complaint, what is it, contempt charge.
Yeah.
She did it the day they walked in there, and the judge allowed her to get it signed.
Sign right there.
Because she didn't have one. She didn't have a contempt form, and she must have forgot. So she hurried up that day. The judge let her sign off on it, and that's when they held him in contempt again.
Yeah. Right. And Judge Knust and that Leanne Lancaster, they are committing child abuse and child psychological abuse.
Yes.
You know, there's a book that's written by my friend Kenneth Gottfried. It's Child Abusers Wear Black Robes. But, you know, and there's a website that he has is www.childabusivejudges.com. And you can go in there and you can put your judge's name in and your attorney's name in, and he's keeping track of these psychological abusers and or abusers. And from the video you sent me, it seems like it's a common pattern with these personality disorders.
Yeah.
Say to the kid, if you don't go with me, I'm going to send your mom or dad to jail. And that's what I heard on your video.
Yes.
And I don't go ahead.
Every time. That's
right.
Even on text, everything.
See, and that's child psychological abuse. Even that happened to my other older son. I heard it through the cell phone. He was, you know, wanting just to stay over just one extra night. You know, it doesn't have to turn into a federal case. That's all the kid wanted. And the father's screaming at him, if you don't come back home, I'm going to put your mother in jail. It's like, this is not worth it, guy. You know, it's like, but this is what's going on within families and with these judges that are refusing to look at evidence. This is why I would like to see family court abolished.
Yeah. But you know, the thing about it is that Judge Knust, he used to be a judge here in Rowan County. And then he went to Cabarrus County, you know, because my son, you know, there was a situation with the his children's mother friend that she's with, you know, sending us these nasty texts, going on our GoFundMe page, saying all type of stuff, you know, these threats. And we, you know, Mr. House went down to Rowan County to try to do a file, what do you call it? 50, you know, something, you know, in case, you know, you want to protect yourself because you want to make sure, you know, he's covered at all ends, but they did not allow him to do it. Connection. And the same way with me. The mother, she was blocking me in. She was saying some stuff. I went to file in Cabarrus County. They set us up for mediation. The mediation with their mother never happened. They lost my papers. Anything that comes down the pipeline with their names connected to it, they shut us down.
So there's a connection. I'm sure there's some type of connection with Leanne Lancaster. And
yes.
What is going on and why? Why not listen to these kids? And, you know, and Marcus, you're an upstanding fellow. You're a coach.
Thanks.
You know, I mean, you know, I know plenty of dads that are good dads that are denied their kids, and you're being retaliated against all the time.
All the time. All the time. And here the kids are still with me. You know, they're still with me. So, I mean, how's that speaking to them? No matter what y'all do to daddy or to grandma, guess where they still want to be? With daddy and grandma, not with her. Why?
Right. And Knust doesn't get it with the ACEs scores, what that does, that grandma was in jail and their own father was in jail for no good reason.
Right.
Because what? He won't look at evidence? Shame on you, Judge Knust. You won't look at evidence.
He just won't. He just won't. And if he did that, he would change the story. But see, he allowed me to speak for the first time. And then, you know, Leanne Lancaster and the other party, they were nervous wreck. She didn't like what I said, but I was just saying, you know, facts. Like, can we like present? You haven't given Mr. House a chance to present any evidence. Oh, he really got frustrated, really, when I started talking to him. He got frustrated when I said we had surveillance of her not showing up somewhere. You can see the frustration in him, like
what more at her.
Yeah,
it was
and
more at Lancaster than it was
Lancaster.
at us, because she's like, wow, he don't even have a lawyer. And what I just heard is he got stuffing on y'all, and it's not. But now it's like, okay, well, I might have to really do my job.
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you want me to do then? You know what I'm saying? Basically, ask her, what do you want
He
me
asked
to do?
her, no, he asked her, what do you want me to do? And she's like, he said, do you have anything else to her? She's like, no, no, no.
So he can't think for himself. He has to ask the lawyer.
I guess pretty much on this situation, once my mother said what she had to say, and knowing that we have surveillance and stuff of her not being at her spots where she's supposed to be, that she's writing these things saying she was there, that she's doing this and doing that, but she doesn't.
Right.
You know?
And that frustrated him, because that's the first time I've seen him all this time get frustrated and sit back in his chair and like want to throw his hands up, like, well, what do you want me to do now, Miss Lancaster? Okay, because if she got all this stuff and I'm doing this, that's basically what he gave.
Mm-hmm.
So part of his problem, he's being played as well.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he has his own issues, granted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
being played, and that's
Yes.
that's a very awkward position for him to be in. He's supporting the wrong team, and it's going to end up backfiring on him. I don't know how much, but I'm still sitting here thinking, with all that we're discussing, what can be done to kind of further the agenda for justice for people in these circumstances? How can we affect change on this? I mean, dialogue is great, but what can really, Marion, what can be done? You've been dealing with this for a while. What tools do we have at our disposal to make some headway to expose this and without getting in trouble? Let's just qualify by saying that.
Well, I mean, just because you're getting a divorce doesn't mean you have to run into a courtroom. What if you can co-parent? I encourage everyone to co-parent, because once you walk into that courtroom, the judge is going to, they could take those kids away from you, put them in foster care. They can do whatever they want. See, people don't realize that when you go into family court, these judges take the reins, they take full control. I encourage parents, don't go in there. But like you and myself, we were dragged in there by personality disorders.
Yes.
So these judges, and the problem is these judges identify with the personality disorder. They recognize it, they embrace it, and they work with it. And they drag the case out. Mm-hmm. The only way to stop it is do not go in there.
Okay.
I mean, and also I think an interesting concept would be to represent yourself. You know your case better than anyone else. Okay, because your lawyer, you can tell the lawyer, your lawyer, you can do research for your lawyer. I'm sorry, but my lawyer lost paperwork that I had in my purse that the judge was asking for. And I said, oh, I have it in my purse, Your Honor. I mean, so what, I mean, the judge still is not going to respect a pro se litigant. I don't care if it's in state court or federal, but at least you're not paying an attorney who's playing in the same sandbox with Judge Knust. Let's find out. Is this Leanne Lancaster, what's their connection?
Mm-hmm.
So what happened to me was, once I won my Superior Court case, I had to hire an attorney, but I did so out of the city. Like, she was a far away out of the city. Mm-hmm. And she saved my life. I mean, not all attorneys are bad. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have done so well. So I think also, if you cannot represent yourself, because some people cannot emotionally do it, but go find an attorney outside of that city or 2 cities away who won't play in the same sandbox and doesn't care.
Right. And that's, when he did have representation, it was said that, I'm going to tell you, I don't stand a chance against this judge. I'm going to be honest. I don't stand a chance against this judge.
Then why hire the attorney?
Because he's going to make his decision Actually, the person had the same case just like his, and he awarded her, but he denied his case. She lost his case.
See, and I had a female attorney when I kind of started out, but the judge steamrolled over her, and that was, chauvinism. You know, she asked him two questions, because we completed all that he wanted. And she says, Your Honor, why can't we go back to 50-50? He screamed at her, I have my reasons. And she said, but Your Honor, we've done this, that, and the other thing. And he screamed at her again, I have my reasons. But God dealt with that judge. And I'm sure you've heard, I don't know if you know the story of how God dealt with my judge. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you, but I don't want to bore you either.
I'm curious.
Okay, so he would not recuse himself. I asked him to recuse himself. I also reported him to the AOPC for his connection with the opposing attorney. So he should have recused himself. And so he retaliated on me. And so I said, God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with this character. This is the most craziest behavior I have ever seen as a human being. And I was a nurse for 23 years, and I've seen craziness, but not like coming from a family court judge or a child support judge. So I put him in God's hands, because that's what God wants you to do.
Yes.
Okay, so he took my boys away from me March 2nd, 2015. So I just was really praying. I said, God, you deal with him, because there's nothing I can do. And on March 2nd of 2017, I get a phone call from my friend, and she said, did you watch the news? It's like, I'm nowhere near a TV set. What happened? She said, your judge died.
Oh, wow.
So God's hands. It's
hands.
Yep, that's it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he can definitely take a player off the game board for sure.
Oh yes, he's taken a couple of my players off the game board.
Yeah.
But that's Mom, did you remember what you were going to say?
That's it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to say, when you were saying that, we're talking about what he said to his attorney at that time, his first one. He said, oh, I like her very much. She's a good, and you're a good attorney. He was saying this to her, you're a great attorney, but then he awards, Leanne.
Yeah.
But he tells her how good of an attorney she is and all this stuff, and then awards it to Leanne.
So Knust was telling her that?
Yes.
Just tell him.
Okay, so there's some type of you know what? Dig deep.
Oh yeah, that's what he's. And these are things I'm like, why is she saying it? He's like, you're really good. You're really good at your job, but she's going to have to beat you to.
Well, God's going to deal with her too. Because I hired an attorney, he said, as soon as I gave him his retainer, he calls me that evening and he yells at me on the phone. He was on a tirade. I don't know what happened. He says, if you don't have $30,000, I can't help you. I said, hey, I'm just telling you my financial issues, and once I started representing myself pro se, I would pass him on the sidewalk in the courthouse, and I looked at him, he looked at me, and he just looked like he was aging before my eyes. And then within that time period of 2 years, he dropped dead of a heart attack.
Wow.
When you don't do the right thing by people, God is
right.
Yes.
Right.
I agree with that.
And that's so true. That's why, I have to put my faith in God, knowing the things, the lies and everything that's coming against myself and my son. I mean, this court, Cabarrus Court, is actually allowing the two parties that are involved in this to get away with everything.
Right. Yeah,
they are, and it's no matter what they do, they're allowing them to get away to say, just like the last incident, the mother, she attacked me. She was verbally, and then, you know, her friend hit me. Nothing was done. I ended up going to the hospital, came back out. I came back to file, and then they end up saying, they said, what is your name? I said, Gloria House Gray. Two police officers came out and said, we have 2 warrants for your arrest. I said, for what? I said, for what? I said, I didn't do anything. He's like, well, you for assault and battery. I said, on who? Or they named the 2 people and took me and locked me up and made me have a $2,000 bond. And the once I got out, I went back to go sign a complaint, you know, a assault charge for the person that hit me. His name is Barlow. He's the magistrate, one of the magistrates there. He told me, you're not doing nothing. You're not signing on nobody. And then when I looked in the window, which I took a picture of, he had a note there, and I seen my name on it. And it says, if Miss Gloria House Gray comes in, do not allow her to sign a complaint against the 2 parties. Do not allow her. And before he read that, so I went back up there to a new one, a magistrate. So see, because I was told to go back up there, so I did. He allowed me to fill out the papers and everything. So I filled it out and gave them to him. And then he came back, and then he started reading this thing. He said, here, take these papers back because you can't sign. So I was never allowed to do an assault charge against the person that assaulted me.
Oh.
And this all happened on that day that I went to court on. This passed like on 8/13 after I've been serving on 20.
This all stinks. This is bad.
Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry.
And the sad thing about it, they're claiming, what was told, they're claiming they have 5 officers. There were no officers there when this happened now. No officers. They have 5 officers that said that I and the party that was with me was aggressive to her. Like which is a total lie. But the thing about it is that if that was so, why didn't they arrest the other person? Mm-hmm. They only arrested me.
Right. So it's like, okay, get mama. And son's already still
the
locked
son's
up.
Locked up. Here we go again. Son is locked up. They were trying to get me again. But they didn't get the other person that was with. Now the magistrate said, you both were aggressive. Okay, well, why didn't y'all take her too? They let her go home.
See, something's going on here.
Yeah.
Are there payoffs going on here?
There's something going on really dirty here.
There's something happening. There's something wrong from the very beginning.
You know, with Mark locked up, man, and for her to pick a fight with Gigi in the elevator,
yes. Right?
That's almost like it was phase 2 of their plan. You know, get Mark locked up and get Gigi locked up, and then the boys have no choice but to go.
Right.
You know, and it stinks. This is it's overt corruption. And I, you know, I'm not an attorney, but I hear lawsuits and civil rights violations and a lot of different things that shouldn't be occurring, shouldn't go unchecked. It's not, you know, and unfortunately it takes money to really evaluate this and then do the investigations to get the information you need to actually bring a case like this. But this is certainly something that needs to happen.
Right. I've also heard of kids that have, you know, grown up. They've come after and have had lawsuits on attorneys and judges. I think it's called The Children Are Coming. I saw that somewhere. I think on Facebook. I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But these kids should be suing for child abuse by these judges.
Right.
I encourage all of them to go do it. You know, is there any last comments, Marcus, or, you know, Gloria or Hugh, that you would like to make?
Me personally, like I said, after all this, I would just like the kids to be heard. I mean, like I said, end of the day, they say it's about the kids. You know, what's in the best interest for the kids. Well, right now, what's in the best interest of these kids is being here with their father. Of course, they want to get a relationship with their mother, but until they let them be heard, I mean, we'll never get to that point. And keep locking me up. Why? For what? Mm-hmm. For what? That's all. That's all for me.
And then, the bottom line is, we're about family, and that's what we want that to happen with them also, because she did have another baby, and and because of this, what she's doing, they haven't even seen him, and he'll be a year old. But that, as a mother, that would be important to me. I would try to do the best thing I can to bring us together, but that's not happening, and that's sad. But I'm praying one day that she will come to realize it is about the boys. It is about their feelings. And I do need to respect their thoughts. They're not little babies, but to respect their thoughts and the things that they want. They love their mother. They love her. But it's just like anybody else. You just can't say and do and think that it's going to go away the next day, especially if you're hurt.
Right.
You just can't do that. So we just pray for one day that she comes to them and just give them what they ask for, the truth. Make it right. Fix it. Right. Apologize to the wrong you've done. Apologize to the dad. Apologize to grandma. Just fix it.
Right. But it's hard to co-parent with a personality disorder.
Yes. Yeah.
And that needs to be addressed. I agree. It needs to be addressed. And from my perspective, just kind of getting in late and just trying to be objective and looking at everything. I think that I always say the truth matters. The truth doesn't change no matter how you spin it, how you try to twist it. The truth is going to always be there. So I think the boys need to be heard. I think the video evidence needs to be evaluated. I think that a decision should be made so that things are being done in the best interest of the kids. Mark should not be penalized for trying to be an upstanding citizen, upstanding father, taking care of his kids, being a pillar in the community. He should be applauded and supported instead of being torn down. So it's almost like everything that should be done, the opposite's being done. And not for a reason that has value, that has merit. It just seems vindictive. It's definitely not in the best interest of the kids. We could talk for hours and hours about what needs to happen, but just kind of drilling back down on the kids. We need to have something happen that's going to be in the best interest of the kids, and it's to stop wasting resources and time trying to make something fit that doesn't work. Right? It doesn't. And there's no reason why we should keep pursuing that. I don't know. I don't know how many thousands of hours have been wasted going back and forth to court, time, Mark serving time, wasting time there, and the stress is putting on him and the boys. When all this could have been resolved, a couple of videos ago, and just hear from the boys, and then being objective, Judge. How about doing your job? How about just weighing all the evidence and then making a decision based on the facts? How about that? That's novel, right? That's what should be happening.
I think the taxpayers should know that their taxpayer dollars are going into jailing two people that don't need to be in there.
Right. I mean, it's an unfortunate story, but it's not one that's hard to follow.
Right.
And I think every decent person would applaud a father or mother who's trying to do right by their family, and a grandmother who's trying to do right by their grandkids. I mean, this is not a hard one. Right.
Now, how do you want to be contacted? Do you want people to contact through me? And I can give you the messages?
That would be great.
Okay.
Well, I think we need someone like you that's going to be an objective participant, kind of, because you know what's going on now. You don't know everything, but you know enough to get a sense of what we're going through. So, Gene, this is just my gut. I think if it does go through Mary Ann, then we can she can filter things to us, and she knows what our objectives are. That would take some of the pressure off you, and we can on calls or whatever to discuss things anytime. I'll make myself available. But that's how I think it should go.
Yes.
Sound good.
Yes. That sounds great.
No problem. Hey, don't jump off. Like to have you back on for an update. Slam the Gavel is a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these courtrooms. I'm your host, Mary Ann Petrie. You can find me on Spotify, YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google and other platforms I don't even know about. And thank you so very, very much, Hugh House Jr., Gloria House, and Marcus House for enlightening us on what's really going on in Cabarrus County, North Carolina.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. We appreciate it.